So, ready for the next step. We're going to need, in this simple way of doing it, a value for n, the number of observations, x bar, the average x, y bar, the average y, sum of the x squareds, s sub xx, sum of the xy's, s sub xy, and after that we'll have need for beta hat 1, which I'll just call beta 1, and which is the slope, beta hat 0, which I'll call beta 0, which is the intercept. Okay, and again we'll need that for all of the others, but we'll just grind through this, and we can just look at it and see, well, I've got 5 values here, but to make it generic so that you'll learn something new, we'll just put count. We'll mark the X range and we'll count those values. Don't have to close it, remember, hit enter. There are 5 values, we knew that. X bar, 2 ways of doing this, of course. One way is to realize that this is a sum of x divided by n. Okay? And of course, the average value of 0 is 0. Or you can type average, left parentheses, mark the X range, hit enter, and you get a 0. Either way. Alright, it's more than one way to skin a cat. Again, y bar, similar. Sum of the y's divided by the number of the y's. Okay, 2.96. Or you can go equals average and mark the y's. And of course you get the same value, 2.96. Alright, so next, sum of squares of x. Formula is over there. Sigma x squared, the sum of the x squared, so equals sum of the x's squared, that value 16 there, minus n times x bar, is the x bar squared, shift 6, and the 2 to squares. Okay, 16. Alright, sum of squares of xy, sxy, equals the sum of the xy's. Alright, sigma xy is the sum of the xy minus n times x bar times y bar. Okay, anytime you've done this and you want to go back and want to look at what you've done, you hit the F2 function key and you see the cells that you've just used in the formula. Okay. Next, beta hat 1 is very simple. Is equal to the SXY, sum squares of XY, divided by S sub XX, sum squares of X, and we get a slope of negative 1.025. Notice that your values are going to be different. Alright, every student will have different data, so don't try to get my exact numbers. Alright, you must use your numbers from the file that I gave you on the web. Alright, every student has a different one, so don't use another student's file. Now the last bit here, the intercept beta hat 0 equals y bar minus minus beta hat 1. Alright, click at the beta hat 1 times x bar. Of course, since x bar is 0, a lot of these calculations become trivial. Alright, so the intercept is 2.96 positive. The last thing to do is to type out the formula so that you know what you're doing. In general, the formula for a regression line is y hat is equal to beta hat 0 plus beta hat 1 times x, and we'll just start typing that. Nothing special here. Y hat is equal to beta hat 0, 2.96, I'm just typing the numbers, plus beta hat 1. Well, beta hat 1 in this particular case, my particular case, is a negative 1.025, so minus 1.025 times x, and that's my estimated equation. Alright, so now it's time to save this. File, save, don't change the file name. Okay, and then you go to your email program and send it to me. Of course, if you haven't done this very often and you want to make sure, and in any case you really want to do this, send it also to yourself. Alright, so you put my email address, tedbos@uab.edu, and then you can also put a comma there and send it to yourself, or put it in a copy. Okay, that way if I don't get it for some silly reason, you have a proof that you've sent it. Alright, if that's all you need, you can stop here. I'm now going to do the same thing on the other versions of Excel. Alright, we're going to have n, x bar, y bar, s of xx, sum of squares of x, s of xy, sum of squares of xy, cell for beta hat 1, I'm just going to call beta 1, cell for beta hat 0, I'm going to call beta 0. Alright, n, you can either type the number 5 or do a count. Okay, x bar, two ways of course of doing this, sum of squares, sum of x divided by n, or you do the average of the x's. Y bar is the sum of y divided by the number of observations, in this case 5, or average of the y's. Place the formulas on the right there so that you can see them. Of course you don't have to do that, I'm just making it easy. So sum of squares of x, s of xx equals sigma x squared. Sigma x squared is the sum of x squared, so that cell there, minus n times x bar squared plus 16. Sxy, sum of xy, is equal to sigma xy. Sigma xy is sum of xy minus n times x bar times y bar. Hit enter. Minus 16.4. Beta 1, beta hat 1 is equal to the Sxy divided by s of xx, sum of squares of x, minus 1.025 is the slope, and the intercept beta hat 0 is y bar minus beta hat 1 times x bar, same as the y bar since the x bar is 0. And then finally I want you to type in the regression equation for these particular numbers. Y hat is equal to beta hat 0 plus beta hat 1 times x. So just start typing y hat is equal to 2.96. Alright, so it's plus beta hat 1, but our beta hat 1, or my beta hat 1, is a minus 1.025, so it's minus 1.025 times x. Then you want to save that, hit the save button here, alright, and then you send it to me. As I said before with Excel 2010, what you really need to do is to also send it to yourself so you have a record of when you sent it. Okay, because remember, I don't accept late homework. Alright, and again, if you need to see it, finally in Excel 2003,